Well, Santa Claus came to town, and I guess the Devils were on the nice list and the Rangers were on the naughty list. Everything worked well for the Devils, everything went wrong for the Rangers. We have a lot to break down in today's episode of Locked On Devils. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Scores! Oh, Stevens stepped up, nailed it. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here at the Locked On Network. I'm your host, college hockey play announcer, Devils Wire Pucks Pitchforks, and also part-time credential media member, Trey Matthews. My apologies for the inactivity the last few days. Obviously, things get a little hectic during the holiday season, which, by the way, Merry Christmas Eve to all. I hope you guys are enjoying the Christmas season with family, friends, loved ones, celebrating with gifts, turkey, love, peace, all that. I've been enjoying the season with my family as well, which is why, like I said, I've been inactive the last few days, but I was not going to miss the New Jersey Devils take on the New York Rangers. And man, am I glad that I did not miss that game, because we have a lot to break down. And I'm looking forward to it, because if you recall, a few weeks back, I didn't get the chance to do a post-game recap episode because the first meeting between these two teams took place during American Thanksgiving time, and I was on vacation with my family. And it was a very eventful game for more reasons than one, but what made it eventful was what Steve Valiquette said during an intermission report, and I still covered that, but this time around, I get to cover the game, and it was a great game for the Devils. Rangers, not so much. In the first segment, I will share some of my main takeaways from the game. And then in the second segment, like I do with every post-game recap victory, I will list my personal 3 stars of the game and also some honorable mentions. And then in the third and final segment, I will compare the stats and give the Devils a letter grade. All right. Before we talk about the Devils' 5-0 victory over the Rangers, I first have to ask a serious question. And this is not me trying to be snippy. I'm legitimately curious. What the hell is going on with the Rangers? Some people pointed this out on social media, but it looked like they didn't even want to be there. They looked lethargic. I know they parted ways with their captain, Jacob Trouba. Capo Caco is now in Seattle. Chris Kreider was a healthy scratch. Matt Rempe is suspended for 8 games for being an absolute dumbass. I'm just genuinely concerned about the Rangers and the state of their team. Like I said, I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm not trying to be snippy. I'm trying to be respectful. I'm genuinely curious. I have no idea what's going on with the Rangers right now. Let me give you an example. Let's go to the second period. They were dinged with too many men on the ice, not once, but twice. Obviously, that's a silly penalty to get. And the Devils were also given a too many men on the ice penalty at one point in that respective period. But after the Rangers got their second one, you could just hear Bill Spalding and Ken Danico just be absolute flabbergasted with how the Rangers have been functioning, because that's just a lack of communication and focus, in my opinion, because penalties are silly to get depending on the circumstance, but too many men on the ice, not once, but twice, that just seems a little odd to me. But let's focus on what the Devils did right, because that's the main talking point. What Bill and Dano talked about on the broadcast was that the team wanted to bring more energy, despite the Devils beating the Rangers 5-1 in the first meeting at Madison Square Garden. And that's exactly what the Devils did. They brought the boom to the Rock. About 3 minutes into the game, Paul Cotter and Vincent Trocheck, they were exchanging words with one another. it got to a point where they both just had enough. They dropped the mitts and they started fighting. And I would say Paul Cotter won that fight. And courtesy of Daniel Moya, if you look at his social media page, you could see players like Nico Hischier, Eric Halle, Jonas Siegenthaler coming to the box to congratulate Paul Cotter, because that gave the Devils some energy to begin the game. And not too long after, Jack Hughes scored the opening goal, 1-0 Devils. The momentum is on their side. And then to close out the first period, Brendan Dillon and Sam Carrick, they dropped the mitts at center, and it was an interesting fight. They both got some decent blows on one another. Nobody really fell down, but Brendan Dillon, he was giving Carrick the work, at least from my perspective. So the fact that the Devils were playing physical and attacking the Rangers very early in the game, it showed that the Devils were trying to jingle the bells of New York. There you go. There's a little Christmas joke for you. And after that, it was just an onslaught of goals for New Jersey. Like, the Rangers just had no answer for them. They couldn't generate anything on Jacob Markstrom. And in the words of Steve Valiquette, it was quote unquote Instagram hockey, because it was fast paced. It was somewhat flashy. It was entertaining. Hashtag embarrass the Rangers. The Devils just put on a show in front of their fans at the Prudential Center. Timo Meier scored a power play goal in the second. Jack Hughes got his second goal of the game via the power play. Third period, Stefan Nason scored. Dawson Mercer gave the Devils their third power play goal of the game. Power play was on par all game long. In fact, special teams was on par all game long, because the Devils didn't allow anything while they were on the PK. Now, we could talk about the Devils' dynamic offense. We could talk about their goaltending. We could talk about how they continue to embarrass the Rangers, especially Jack Hughes. It seems like he has a personal motive to embarrass the Rangers any chance he gets. But I want to focus more on their defense, because I think their defense deserves a lot more credit for the work they've been doing the past few games. Courtesy of Bill Spaulding, the play-by-play announcer for the Devils, he put this out on social media. He said, NHL record 7th straight game allowing 20 shots or fewer as the Devils dominated the Rangers 5-0. Bill followed up with that and said that the Devils have allowed just 112 shots over the last 7 games. That's an average of 16 per game. Devils have allowed just 12 shots each of the last 2 games. First team since 1999 to do that in back-to-back games. And remember, if you go a couple games back against the Columbus Blue Jackets, yes, the Devils came out on the losing end, but it was still a hard-fought battle, and they just ran into hot goaltending. Elvis Merzlikins played arguably his best game of the season. Overall, this was just an entertaining game to watch, and it's a rivalry matchup, and I'm sure a lot of people love to clown on the Rangers whenever they lose to the Devils. I'll leave that to you guys, but I do enjoy seeing some of the banter that I encounter on social media. I think it's somewhat comical and entertaining, but remember, guys, it's sports, not life. Don't make it personal. That's all I got to say. Anyway, I'm going to list my personal 3 stars of the game and some honorable mentions momentarily. But before we continue, let me tell you guys about FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown and how many points each team will score. It's thrilling. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Please remember to always gamble responsibly. Okay, let's name some players that caught my eye. Before I name my 3 stars of the game, first, some honorable mentions. The first one goes to Nathan Bastion. Shout out to Bastion. It's a shame he didn't walk away with anything, but Nathan Bastion was just incredible in this game. I would say it was one of his best outings of the season. And going back to what I've said weeks ago, Nathan Bastion, he is another body on the bottom 6 for New Jersey, and sometimes he can make a name for himself. And I just want people to look at his game in a more meticulous manner, because I think he was playing with great speed. He was being very aggressive. He was somewhat physical on the Rangers as well. I think people need to give more credit to Nathan Bastion. Like I said, I can't make him one of my 3 stars of the game just because he didn't walk away with a point. But I just want to say, I saw you, Nathan Bastion. I saw you. Speaking of physicality, shout out to Paul Cotter and Brendan Dillon for giving the Devils more energy on rivalry night in this Hudson River battle. It was entertaining. I'll say that. And I think both of them handled themselves very well in their respective fights. Got to put the crowd and also your team into a lather on rivalry night during the Hudson River battle. So Paul Cotter, Brendan Dillon, both fighting in the first period, but it gave the team some energy. My next honorable mention is Andre Palat, who walked away with an assist in this matchup. He got the secondary assist on Timo Meyer's goal, but I actually want to highlight something he did on the Jack Hughes goal in the first period. He didn't walk away with an assist in that sequence. However, and Bryce and Dano broke it down, notice how Palat created possession for the Devils by bumping Carrick off the puck. He dished it on back to Hamilton, who fed it up ahead to Bratt, and Hughes obviously found the back of the net. Palat did not walk away with a point in that particular sequence, but it goes to show you what he is supposed to do when he's paired alongside Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt. And my last honorable mention goes to Jacob Markstrom. Back-to-back outings, back-to-back shutouts for Markey. And I know a lot of people have strong opinions when it comes to Jacob Markstrom, but here's a fun fact for you. He's actually performing pretty well all season long. He is now tied for second most shutouts this season with 3, trailing behind Connor Hellebuck, who has 4. He also trails Hellebuck for most wins this season. Hellebuck has 21. Markstrom now has 18. And remember, Hellebuck is the reigning Vezina Trophy winner. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, Jacob Markstrom doesn't face that many shots. And yes, you are absolutely correct. The defense in front of him is elite, and sometimes Markstrom can let in a soft goal here and there. But I think he's faced enough shots for us to make an assessment as to what he is as a goalie, which is this season he is not a Vezina caliber goalie, but he's solid, similar to what Tom Fitzgerald has said about his game, and also Sheldon Keefe. He gives the Devils a chance to win night after night after night. So congratulations to Jacob Markstrom for picking up a shutout in 2 straight games. All right. My 3rd star goes to Luke Hughes, who had 2 assists in this game. During this matinee matchup, Luke and his brother Jack were working in tandem all night long. Luke got the primary assist on Jack Hughes' power play goal in the second, and Luke also got the secondary assist on Dawson Mercer's power play goal in the third. And I know we talked about how Luke's offense is sort of not what it was last year, but I just want to put this into the light. In 28 game appearances, Luke has 15 points. He has 2 goals, 13 assists. So he's been silently putting up some decent point production. In his previous 5 outings, Luke has registered a point in 4 of them. The only game in which he didn't walk away with a point was the matchup against the Penguins. He had a 2-point outing against the Rangers, a 2-point outing against the Blue Jackets, a 1-point outing in St. Louis, a 1-point outing versus Chicago. So Luke is actually steadily putting together some decent point performances the last few games. My second star, Jesper Bratt, who also had 2 assists in this game. And Jesper continues his great point production all season long. In 37 game appearances, he has 14 goals, 31 assists for a grand total of 45 points. He and Jack are going to be in a battle to see who can crack 100 points first. And the first star, speaking of which, goes to Jack Hughes. He got his 9th 3-point outing of the season. And in the words of Bill Spalding, Jack Hughes owns New York. Because in 29 career games against the Rangers, this includes regular season and playoffs, Jack has 31 points, 18 goals, 13 assists. Whenever the Rangers come to town or whenever the Devils go to Madison Square Garden, Jack always elevates his game, and this matchup was no exception. Jack has been incredible, and his 9th 3-point outing, great work by Jack Hughes. Okay, I'm going to compare the stats and give the Devils a letter grade momentarily, but before we continue, let me tell you guys about Prize Picks. If you love sports, you're going to love Prize Picks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Whether it's hockey, football, or any of your other favorite sports, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in on the action. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Pickmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when your pick hits, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You could get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. This week on Prize Picks, I'm eyeing the hockey board, looking at Jack Hughes for more than 4 shots on goal. That shouldn't be a shock to anyone. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, let's compare the stats, give the Devils a letter grade, and get out of here. Oh, boy. Shots on goal differential, 29-12 in favor of the Devils. Once again, did the Rangers even want to participate in this game? They just looked out of it. If you're a Rangers fan and you're listening to the show, I'm genuinely concerned for your team. Just enlighten me. What's going on? Is it a front office issue, a coaching issue, a player personnel issue? I genuinely am curious because last year, the Rangers were the President's Trophy winners. This year, they're a shell of their former selves. They gave Shesterkin that lengthy 8-year extension, but since then, it's been an absolute dumpster fire. All right. Power plays. Rangers were 0 for 4. Devils were 3 for 4. 75% power play success clip. That's impressive. Hits, 26-16 in favor of the Rangers. Giveaways, 18-17 in favor of the Rangers. Takeaways, 5-1 in favor of the Devils. Block shots, 13-8 in favor of the Devils. Time spent in the penalty box, 24 a pop. All right. If I had to give the Devils a letter grade, what am I doing? A+. Perfect game. Offensively, defensively. Jacob Markstrom was great in between the pipes. The Devils came out with energy. They put their foot on the gas pedal and they didn't look back. Rangers had little to no shot to make this an entertaining game. This was a fantastic game through and through. The only people who have complaints about this game are people who were dressed in blue, people who are Rangers fans. But that's my assessment. Devils heading into Christmas break with a lot of momentum on their side, and they came out with an A+ performance. Let me know your thoughts. What did you think of this matchup between the Rangers and the Devils? It's always entertaining when rivals go mano-a-mano. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on podcast streaming service, hit me up on my personal X page app at TreyMatt4 or the show's X page app at Locked On Devils. As for today's episode, that's all the time I have for you. Continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day in New Jersey. Go Devils. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for listening. Once again, happy holidays to all.